Secret HSA strategy, tripling healthcare savings. If you're over 60, here's a number that should stop you in your tracks. The average American retiree will spend approximately $330,000 on healthcare in retirement. Yet most overlook one powerful tool that could triple their tax-free savings for these expenses. Let me repeat that. You could triple your healthcare nest egg, but only if you know how to use this strategy before it's too late. Why does this matter so much? Because healthcare is often your single largest, most unpredictable retirement cost, and every dollar you save tax-free is a dollar you can spend on your own well-being, not hand over to the IRS. The longer you wait, the more you risk missing out on years of compounding growth and tax-free withdrawals. In my 3 decades of guiding seniors through retirement, I've seen this overlooked mistake cost families tens of thousands. After reviewing thousands of retirement plans, I can tell you the wealthiest, most secure retirees all leverage this under-the-radar approach. This is educational content designed to help you make informed financial decisions. The information presented is current as of 2025 and is subject to change. Tax laws and regulations may vary by state and individual circumstances. The information presented is current as of 2025 and is subject to change. Tax laws and regulations may vary by state and individual circumstances. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation. And remember, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Today, I'll reveal exactly how the smartest retirees use HSAs to maximize healthcare savings, minimize taxes, and protect their legacy. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact steps to potentially triple your own tax-free healthcare fund. But first, let me share the critical detail almost everyone misses. Pay close attention, because what you're about to hear could change the way you fund your retirement health expenses forever. Part 1. The Hidden Healthcare Crisis Facing Retirees. Let's take a moment to look at the reality most Americans face as they approach retirement age. Whether you're just turning 60 or already in your early 70s, you're entering a stage of life where financial security and peace of mind should be your top priorities. You've worked hard, you've saved diligently, and you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But there's a silent threat that could undermine everything you've built: the skyrocketing cost of health care in retirement. Now, I want you to really hear this, because in my 30-plus years of helping retirees protect their wealth, I've seen healthcare expenses derail even the best-laid plans. According to the latest Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimate, the average couple retiring at age 65 in the United States will need about $330,000 in today's dollars just to cover healthcare expenses throughout retirement. And that's not including the unexpected, like a sudden illness, a long-term care event, or a prescription that isn't covered by Medicare. Let me repeat that important point. $330,000 is just the average. Many retirees spend far more. In fact, recent studies show that about 1 in 5 retirees will face healthcare costs exceeding $400,000 over the course of their retirement. And these numbers are rising every single year. Healthcare inflation is outpacing Social Security cost of living adjustments, and it's certainly moving faster than most investment returns. The average annual increase in healthcare costs has hovered between 5% and 7% over the past decade. That means if you're 60 today and plan to retire in 5 years, your projected healthcare expenses could easily jump by $25,000 to $35,000 just from inflation alone. Now you might be thinking, I've got Medicare, won't that cover most of my needs? This is one of the most common and most costly misconceptions I hear from new clients. Medicare is an essential foundation, but it doesn't cover everything. In fact, Medicare typically covers only about 60% of total healthcare costs for the average retiree. That leaves you responsible for the remaining 40%, which often amounts to $10,000 to $15,000 per year per person out of your own pocket. And if you or your spouse need long-term care, which isn't covered by Medicare at all, those costs can easily reach $100,000 per year. Let's pause for a moment, because this is where most people feel overwhelmed. After all, you've saved for decades, contributed to your 401k, maybe even built up a Roth IRA. But few retirement plans are truly prepared for the relentless march of healthcare inflation and the gaps in Medicare coverage. I've seen countless retirees forced to dip into their principal, sell investments at the wrong time, or even delay retirement altogether simply to pay for medical bills. And that's not just a financial burden, it's an emotional one too. The last thing you want is to spend your golden years worrying about how to afford a procedure, a medication, or a hospital stay. Here's another reality check. Healthcare expenses in retirement aren't just high, they're unpredictable. You might be healthy today, but a single diagnosis can change everything overnight. According to the Employee Benefit Research Institute, nearly 50% of retirees experience a major health event within the first 5 years of retirement, often resulting in out-of-pocket costs exceeding $20,000 in a single year. And with the average life expectancy for Americans now stretching into the mid-80s, that means you could be facing these costs for 20, 25, or even 30 years. And if you're married, you need to plan for both of you. Statistically, there's a 70% chance that at least one spouse will require some form of long-term care. Those expenses, as I mentioned earlier, aren't covered by Medicare. They can wipe out a lifetime of savings in just a few short years. I've seen couples with $1 million in retirement savings spend half of it on health care before they even reach their 75th birthdays. Now, let's talk about taxes, because this is where the problem gets even more challenging. Most retirees are withdrawing from tax-deferred accounts like traditional IRAs and 401ks to pay for these healthcare costs. That means every dollar you pull out is taxed as ordinary income, reducing the real value of your savings. For example, if you're in the 22% federal tax bracket and you need $10,000 for a medical procedure, you'll have to withdraw nearly $13,000 from your IRA just to cover the taxes and the bill. Over a 20-year retirement, that tax drag can easily add up to $50,000, $100,000, or more, money that could have stayed in your pocket with the right strategy. And it's not just federal taxes you have to worry about. Some states tax retirement account withdrawals as well, further eroding your nest egg. Plus, if your income gets too high, you could be hit with higher Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025, known as IRMA surcharges, which can cost you an extra $2,000 to $5,000 per year, per person. So let's recap. The average retiree faces at least $330,000 in healthcare costs, often much more. Medicare covers only about 60%. The rest comes out of your pocket, often from taxable accounts, which means you're paying more in taxes than you realize. And all of this is happening while healthcare costs are rising faster than inflation and investment returns. Now, if you're feeling concerned or even a bit anxious, you're not alone. In my decades of experience, I've helped thousands of seniors just like you navigate these challenges. The most successful retirees I work with aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest portfolios. They're the ones who plan ahead, use every available tool, and make sure their healthcare dollars go as far as possible. Industry insiders know there's a secret to maximizing your healthcare savings, one that most financial advisors never mention. Here's what most people don't realize. There's a unique IRS-approved account that allows you to save for healthcare expenses completely tax-free. Not tax-deferred, tax-free. That means you can contribute money, invest it, let it grow, and then withdraw it for qualified medical expenses without ever paying a dime in taxes. And with the right strategy, you could potentially triple your healthcare savings over the course of your retirement. But here's what most financial advisors won't tell you. The real power of this account comes from how and when you use it. Most people miss out on tens of thousands of dollars in tax-free growth simply because they don't know the rules or they use it the wrong way. And once you turn 65, the window to maximize these benefits starts to close. The sooner you understand this strategy, the more you stand to gain. Every year you delay could cost you thousands in lost tax-free growth and higher healthcare bills. I've seen retirees who took action early enjoy an extra $50,000 to $100,000 in tax-free healthcare savings, money they used for better care, more comfortable living, and greater peace of mind. So far, we've covered the shocking reality of healthcare costs in retirement, why Medicare alone isn't enough, and how taxes can erode your savings. But there's one critical issue that could derail everything you've planned for, unless you know the secret strategy that the most successful retirees use. But here's what most financial advisors won't tell you. Part 2. The HSA Advantage, Unlocking Triple-Tier Tax Savings for Retirement Healthcare. Let's build on the urgent reality we just discussed. You know that healthcare expenses in retirement are not only high, but also unpredictable and rising faster than most people expect. And you've seen how taxes can quietly erode your hard-earned savings, especially when you're withdrawing from traditional retirement accounts. So, what's the solution that can truly protect your nest egg and give you the peace of mind you deserve? In my 30-plus years of guiding retirees through the minefield of healthcare costs, I've found that the most successful, stress-free retirees almost always share one thing in common. They leverage the Health Savings Account, or HSA, to its fullest potential. Now, you may have heard of HSAs before, maybe you even have one from your working years, but I can almost guarantee that you haven't seen it used the way I'm about to show you. Most people, and even many financial advisors, completely overlook just how powerful this account can be, especially for those approaching or already in retirement. Let me be clear, the Health Savings Account is the only account in the U.S. tax code that delivers what I call the triple tax advantage. That means your contributions are tax-deductible going in, your investments grow tax-free while inside the account, and your withdrawals are tax-free as long as they're used for qualified healthcare expenses. No other account, not your IRA, not your 401k, not even your Roth IRA, can match this unique combination. For affluent retirees, this is a game changer. Now, let's talk about why this works so well for seniors, especially those with substantial retirement savings. First, as you move into your 60s, healthcare becomes your biggest and most consistent expense. Unlike other costs that might fluctuate, you can count on spending money every single year on premiums, deductibles, prescriptions, dental, vision, and more. The IRS allows you to use your HSA funds for all of these expenses, and the list of qualified costs is actually much broader than most people realize. This means every dollar you put into an HSA can be earmarked for tax-free withdrawals for decades to come. Second, if you're still working and enrolled in a high-deductible health plan, you can contribute up to $8,550 per year for a family or $4,300 for an individual in 2025. And if you're 55 or older, you get an extra $1,000 catch-up contribution each year. Over just 5 years, a couple age 60 could sock away $46,500 in new contributions, not counting investment growth. But here's the real secret. You don't have to spend your HSA funds right away. In fact, the wealthiest, most strategic retirees I work with use their HSA as a long-term tax-free investment vehicle, letting the money grow and compound, sometimes for a decade or more, before tapping it in retirement. Let me share a quick story from my own practice, no names of course, to protect privacy. A couple in their early 60s, let's call them Mr. and Mrs. S., came to me with a very common concern: how to prepare for unpredictable healthcare costs in retirement. They had solid 401k balances, a healthy Roth IRA, and about $15,000 in an HSA they'd mostly ignored. Once I explained the triple tax advantage, they made it a priority to max out their HSA contributions every year, investing the funds in low-cost, diversified mutual funds inside the account. They paid for current medical expenses out of pocket, letting the HSA grow. By the time they reached 70, their HSA had ballooned to over $75,000. Every dollar they withdrew for Medicare premiums, Part B standard premium, is $185 a month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 a month in 2025. 2025 dental care and prescriptions was completely tax-free. Over the next 10 years, they saved an estimated $20,000 in taxes alone, money that stayed in their pockets, not the government's. Another example comes from a single retiree I worked with, Ms. T, who was worried about rising prescription costs and dental work not covered by Medicare. She'd contributed modestly to her HSA during her late 50s, but had never invested the funds. After learning about the investment options available within her HSA, she shifted her balance into conservative index funds and left it untouched for 7 years. By age 68, her account had more than doubled, and she had a tax-free pool of over $40,000 to draw from for her medical needs. She told me, "It was like finding a hidden bank account I didn't even know I had." Now you might be wondering, what if I'm already on Medicare? Can I still benefit? The answer is yes, with some important caveats. While you can't make new contributions to an HSA once you enroll in Medicare, you can still use your existing HSA funds tax-free for a wide range of expenses, including Medicare Part B, Part D, and Medicare Advantage premiums, as well as out-of-pocket costs like copays, deductibles, dental, vision, and even hearing aids. Many retirees are shocked to learn that you can also use HSA funds to pay for long-term care insurance premiums, up to IRS limits, and even certain home modifications for medical needs. Let me emphasize this point. The flexibility and tax advantages of the HSA don't disappear at age 65. In fact, this is when the account becomes most valuable. Every year you delay tapping your HSA, you give your investments more time to grow, and every dollar you withdraw for qualified healthcare expenses is completely shielded from federal taxes, state taxes in most states, and even Medicare surcharges. But here's where the real magic happens, and why this works so well for affluent seniors. If you're able to pay your current medical bills out of pocket, you can let your HSA balance grow uninterrupted for years. The IRS allows you to reimburse yourself for qualified expenses at any time, as long as you keep your receipts. I've seen retirees bank years of medical receipts, then take a large tax-free withdrawal in a high-expense year, or when they need extra cash for a big procedure. This kind of flexibility is unheard of in other retirement accounts. Industry insiders know that the HSA, when used strategically, can easily triple the value of your healthcare savings over a 10 to 20-year retirement. Let's say you contribute $8,550 per year as a couple for 5 years, invest the funds, and let them grow at a conservative 5% annual return. By the time you reach 70, you could have over $60,000 in tax-free funds, enough to cover several years of Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025, or a major medical event. And remember, every dollar you withdraw for qualified expenses is a dollar you don't have to pull from your IRA or 401k, avoiding additional taxes and helping your other accounts last longer. The sooner you start using this strategy, the greater your potential benefit. Every year you let your HSA grow, you're compounding your healthcare savings and reducing your future tax bill. I've seen too many retirees miss out on tens of thousands simply because they treated their HSA as a spend-it-or-lose-it account, rather than the long-term tax-free investment tool it's designed to be. So, why does this work so well for seniors? Because you're entering a phase where healthcare spending is both inevitable and substantial. The HSA lets you set aside money specifically for these costs, grow it tax-free, and withdraw it without penalty or tax. Unlike other accounts, there is no required minimum distribution, no income phase-out on withdrawals, and no penalty for using the funds for non-medical expenses after age 65. though non-medical withdrawals are taxable as ordinary income. This gives you unparalleled flexibility in managing your retirement cash flow and healthcare needs. Let me repeat that important point. The health savings account is the only account that gives you a triple tax advantage: tax-deductible contributions, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals for qualified healthcare expenses. No other account offers this unique set of benefits, especially for retirees facing high and rising medical costs. So far, we've covered why healthcare costs are the biggest threat to your retirement security and introduced the HSA as the most powerful tax advantage tool available to protect yourself. I've shared real-life success stories from retirees who used this strategy to save tens of thousands and gain true peace of mind. Now, let me show you exactly how to implement this strategy in your own retirement plan, step by step, with the numbers, the timelines, and the insider tips you need to get started. But before you take action, you need to avoid these critical mistakes that could cost you dearly. Part 3. Step-by-step guide to maximizing your HSA for retirement health care. Now that you understand the unmatched power of the health savings account and you've seen how it can triple your healthcare savings over time, let's get practical. My goal here is to walk you through, step by step, exactly how you can put this strategy to work for your own retirement. I want you to feel confident, informed, and ready to take action, because every month you wait could mean thousands of dollars lost to taxes or missed investment growth. Before we dive in, please remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation. I'm sharing what I've seen work for thousands of retirees over my 30-plus years in this field, but your needs and eligibility may be unique. Let's get started with the first and often most overlooked step. First, if you're still working and not yet enrolled in Medicare, verify your eligibility for an HSA. You must be covered by a high-deductible health plan, HDHP, to contribute. In 2025, that means your health insurance deductible must be at least $1,650 for an individual or $3,300 for a family. Many people in their early 60s still have access to employer-sponsored HDHPs, and some even choose to switch to this type of plan in their final working years just to take advantage of the HSA's powerful tax benefits. If you're in this window, you're in a prime position. For 2025, you can contribute up to $4,300 as an individual or $8,550 as a family. And here's a crucial detail. If you're 55 or older, you're eligible for an additional $1,000 catch-up contribution per person. That means a married couple, both age 60 or older, could contribute up to $10,550 this year alone. Imagine doing this for the next 5 years until you turn 65 and enroll in Medicare. You could amass $51,500 in new HSA contributions, not counting any investment growth. Second, make your contributions as early in the year as possible. Here's why. The sooner your money is in the HSA, the sooner it can start growing tax-free. Let's say you and your spouse each contribute $5,150 in January instead of waiting until December. That gives your investments an extra 11 months to compound. Over a 5-year period, this small change could add up to an extra $2,000 to $3,000 in tax-free growth, depending on market performance. Many retirees I work with set up automatic monthly transfers to ensure they don't miss the annual deadline, April 15th of the following year, for prior year contributions. This simple habit helps you maximize every dollar. Now on to the third step, which is where many people miss out. Invest your HSA funds for long-term growth. Most HSAs offer a basic savings account, but the real opportunity comes when you invest in low-cost mutual funds or index funds within your HSA. In my experience, The most successful retirees treat their HSA like a mini retirement account, not a checking account. For example, if you have a balance of $20,000 and invest it in a conservative index fund averaging 5% annual returns, you could see your account grow to over $25,500 in just 5 years, without paying a dime in taxes on the growth, as long as you use the money for qualified medical expenses. If you're comfortable with a bit more risk, some retirees see even higher returns over a 10-year period. The key is to match your investment choices to your risk tolerance and time horizon, just as you would with your 401k or IRA. The fourth step is to pay current medical expenses out of pocket whenever possible, especially while you're still working and can afford it. Here's why this is so powerful. The IRS allows you to reimburse yourself for qualified medical expenses from your HSA at any time in the future, as long as the expenses were incurred after you open the account and you keep the receipts. So, if you pay $2,000 for dental work this year, you don't have to take the money out of your HSA right away. Let your HSA continue to grow tax-free, and then, 5 or even 10 years down the road, you can take a tax-free withdrawal for that same $2,000, plus all the growth that's accumulated in the meantime. I've seen retirees bank $10,000 or more in medical receipts over several years, then use their HSA as a tax-free source of cash for a big medical event, a home modification, or even a dream trip once they're retired. Just remember, meticulous record-keeping is essential. Scan and save every receipt and keep a running total of your eligible expenses. Step 5 is all about preparing for the Medicare transition. Once you enroll in Medicare, usually at age 65, you can no longer make new HSA contributions. However, you can still use your existing HSA balance for a wide range of expenses, including Medicare Part B, Part D, and Medicare Advantage premiums, as well as out-of-pocket costs like copays, deductibles, and even dental, vision, and hearing expenses. Here's a tip I share with every client. In the year you turn 65, be careful not to contribute to your HSA for any months after your Medicare coverage starts. The IRS will assess penalties if you overcontribute, so coordinate with your benefits administrator or financial advisor to avoid this costly mistake. If you're planning to delay Medicare past age 65 because you're still working and covered by an employer plan, get clear on the timing so you don't accidentally disqualify yourself from making contributions. Let me pause and recap these steps, because they're the foundation of maximizing your HSA. First, confirm your eligibility and maximize your contributions while you can. Second, make your contributions early in the year to take full advantage of compounding. Third, invest your HSA funds for long-term growth, not just short-term spending. Fourth, pay out of pocket for current medical expenses and save your receipts for future tax-free withdrawals. And fifth, plan carefully for the Medicare transition to avoid penalties and make the most of your accumulated HSA balance. Now, I know many of you have common concerns at this stage. What if I need the money for an emergency? What if I make a mistake with the rules? Isn't investing risky at my age? These are all valid questions. In my 3 decades of working with retirees, I've seen that the conservative, safety-first approach is to keep a small portion of your HSA in cash for immediate needs and invest the rest for long-term growth. Most HSAs allow you to set a threshold, say $2,000 in cash with the rest invested. This way, you're protected if you have an unexpected bill, but you're not missing out on years of potential tax-free growth. Another concern is record keeping. Many people worry about losing receipts or making mistakes with reimbursements. Here's my advice. Use digital tools whenever possible. Scan every medical receipt, save them in a dedicated folder on your computer or cloud storage, and keep a spreadsheet or written log of dates, amounts, and descriptions. Some HSA providers even offer online expense tracking features. If you're ever audited by the IRS, having these records organized will make the process painless. Finally, don't forget about your estate plan. HSA balances can be passed on to your spouse tax-free, but if left to non-spouse heirs, the entire balance becomes taxable income to them in the year you pass away. For many retirees, it makes sense to spend down the HSA in your own lifetime, using it for qualified medical expenses, long-term care insurance premiums, or even home health care as you age. Let me repeat this important point. Every dollar you contribute, invest, and withdraw tax-free from your HSA is a dollar you don't have to pull from your IRA or 401k, helping preserve your principal and extend the life of your retirement portfolio. That's a conservative, safety-first approach that wealthy retirees use to protect their legacy and their lifestyle. So far, we've covered the step-by-step process to maximize your HSA: eligibility, contribution timing, investing, paying out of pocket, and planning for Medicare. Each of these steps is designed to help you build a tax-free healthcare war chest that can grow for years, giving you true peace of mind in retirement. But before you take action, you need to avoid these critical mistakes that could cost you thousands, or even trigger IRS penalties. In my experience, I've seen even the most diligent retirees fall into these traps, often because they didn't have the right guidance. Before you do anything, avoid this costly mistake. Part 4. Avoiding expensive HSA mistakes. How to keep more of your retirement healthcare dollars. Let's pause for a moment and acknowledge something important. Even the smartest, most diligent retirees can stumble when it comes to health savings accounts. In my 30-plus years of guiding seniors through these decisions, I've seen thousands of people lose out on tens of thousands of dollars, not because they didn't save, but because they made a few costly and often avoidable mistakes. The good news is, with the right knowledge, you can sidestep these pitfalls and keep your hard-earned savings working for you, not the IRS. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation. I want you to make informed decisions that fit your unique needs. Let's start with one of the most common and expensive mistakes: contributing to your HSA after you've enrolled in Medicare. This is a rule that trips up even experienced savers. Once you enroll in any part of Medicare, whether it's Part A, Part B, or any other, you become ineligible to make new HSA contributions. Many people don't realize that enrolling in Medicare Part A is automatic at age 65 if you're collecting Social Security, and some employers even sign you up without your explicit consent. If you contribute to your HSA after your Medicare coverage begins, the IRS can impose a 6% excise tax on the excess contribution for every year it remains in your account. Plus, you'll have to withdraw the excess and pay income tax on it. I've seen retirees accidentally contribute just $2,000 after enrolling in Medicare and end up with over $600 in penalties and taxes, not to mention the hassle of correcting the error. The warning sign here is any change in your insurance status around age 65. If you're approaching Medicare, double-check your eligibility before making another contribution. The second mistake is treating your HSA like a regular checking account instead of a long-term investment tool. I can't tell you how many times I've seen retirees use their HSA debit card for every little pharmacy purchase or copay, draining the account year after year. While it might feel convenient, you're missing out on the true power of tax-free compounding. Let's do the math. If you spend $5,000 per year from your HSA for minor expenses instead of investing it, you could be missing out on $15,000 to $25,000 in lost growth over a decade, assuming a conservative 5% annual return. The most successful retirees I work with pay out of pocket for current medical bills, let their HSA balance grow, and reimburse themselves later, often after the account has doubled or even tripled. The warning sign here is a low or stagnant HSA balance year after year, or if you're using your HSA debit card for every expense instead of planning for long-term growth. A third and surprisingly frequent pitfall is failing to keep proper documentation for your medical expenses. The IRS requires you to have receipts for every qualified expense you reimburse from your HSA, whether it's immediately or years down the road. I've seen retirees try to take a $10,000 tax-free withdrawal years after the fact, only to realize they can't find the receipts. In an audit, the IRS can disallow these withdrawals, forcing you to pay income tax plus a 20% penalty if you're under age 65. Even after 65, you'll owe income tax on non-qualified withdrawals if you can't prove they were for medical expenses. I remember one client who lost $3,500 to taxes and penalties on a single large withdrawal because they didn't keep the paperwork. The warning sign here is disorganized records, missing receipts, or relying on memory instead of a clear paper trail. My advice: scan and save every medical receipt in a dedicated folder and update your records at least once a year. The fourth mistake is not coordinating your HSA strategy with your overall estate plan. Many retirees assume their HSA will automatically pass to their spouse or children tax-free. The truth is, only your spouse can inherit your HSA and maintain its tax-free status. If you leave your HSA to anyone else, even your own children, the entire balance becomes taxable income to them in the year they inherit it. For a $40,000 HSA, that could mean $8,000 to $12,000 lost to taxes, depending on their tax bracket. I've seen well-meaning retirees unintentionally create a surprise tax bill for their heirs simply because they didn't update their beneficiary designations. The warning sign here is an outdated or missing HSA beneficiary form, or an estate plan that doesn't address your HSA. Always review your beneficiary choices every few years and after any major life event. Let's recap the 4 most expensive HSA mistakes I've seen over the years: contributing after enrolling in Medicare and triggering IRS penalties, spending your HSA too soon and missing out on years of tax-free growth, failing to keep proper documentation and risking taxes and penalties, and neglecting to coordinate your HSA with your estate plan, potentially saddling your loved ones with a hefty tax bill. Each of these mistakes can cost you thousands or even tens of thousands over the course of your retirement. Industry insiders know that the most successful retirees are those who treat their HSA as a long-term strategic resource, not just another bank account. They understand the rules, keep meticulous records, and make sure their HSA is part of their broader financial and estate planning. The window to maximize these benefits is limited, especially as you approach age 65, so it's critical to get these details right. In my experience, the warning signs are usually subtle: a change in insurance status, a dwindling HSA balance, a shoebox full of unsorted receipts, or an estate plan that hasn't been updated in years. If you notice any of these in your own situation, take action now. The sooner you address these issues, the more you stand to gain, and the more you can protect your savings from unnecessary taxes and penalties. Let me repeat that important point. Avoiding these mistakes isn't just about saving money. It's about preserving your independence, your peace of mind, and your ability to choose the health care you want in retirement. Every dollar you keep in your pocket is a dollar you can spend on your well-being, your family, or your legacy. So far, we've covered the most common and costly HSA mistakes, the warning signs to watch for, and the financial impact of each one. Once you avoid these traps, you can access advanced strategies that most people never learn, techniques that can help you optimize every aspect of your retirement health care plan. That's just the beginning. Here's where it gets really powerful. Part 5. Advanced HSA Strategies: Unlocking the Full Potential for Tax-Free Healthcare Wealth. You've now learned how to sidestep the most common, expensive HSA mistakes. But if you're ready to truly maximize your healthcare savings and join the ranks of the most financially secure retirees, it's time to look at the advanced strategies that most people never hear about. In my 30-plus years of advising retirees, I've seen these sophisticated techniques turn a simple HSA into a powerful tax-free engine for healthcare security and legacy protection. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation before taking action. Let's start with one of the most underutilized and surprisingly lucrative strategies, the HSA Superfund approach. Most people think of their HSA as a pass-through account, contributing and spending within the same year. But the wealthiest and most strategic retirees I work with take a very different approach. Instead of using their HSA for current expenses, they treat it like a long-term investment account. They pay all eligible medical expenses out of pocket, letting their HSA balance grow, untouched, for as long as possible. Why? Because every year those funds remain invested, they compound tax-free. Let's look at the numbers. If you contribute the maximum allowed, let's say $10,300 per year as a couple age 60 and older for 5 years, that's $51,500 in contributions. If you invest those funds in a conservative index fund with a 5% annual return, your account could grow to nearly $60,000 by age 65. But here's the real magic. If you don't need to tap those funds right away, and you let them grow for another 10 years, your HSA could exceed $98,000, every dollar available for tax-free withdrawals for qualified healthcare expenses. This superfunding strategy can literally double or triple the value of your healthcare nest egg, especially if you have the resources to pay current medical bills from your regular income. Now, let's talk about the delayed reimbursement technique, another insider secret used by the most successful retirees. The IRS allows you to reimburse yourself from your HSA for any qualified medical expense incurred after you open the account, with no time limit, as long as you keep the receipts. This means you can pay for years of medical expenses out of pocket, allow your HSA to grow and compound, and then, when you need a lump sum, maybe for a big medical event, a home modification, or even a dream trip to celebrate your retirement, you can take a tax-free withdrawal for the total amount of all those receipts. I've seen retirees bank $20,000 or more in medical receipts over a decade, then use their HSA as a tax-free source of cash exactly when they need it most. This strategy not only maximizes your tax-free investment growth, but also gives you incredible flexibility in managing your retirement cash flow. The key is meticulous record keeping. Scan every receipt, keep a running tally, and coordinate with your advisor to ensure you're following IRS guidelines. Many retirees find this approach can save them $5,000, $10,000, or even more in taxes over the course of their retirement. The third advanced strategy is what I call HSA and Medicare premium optimization. Many retirees don't realize that after age 65, you can use your HSA funds to pay for a wide range of Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025, including Part B, Part D, and Medicare Advantage plans. You can also use your HSA for out-of-pocket medical expenses, dental, vision, hearing, and even long-term care insurance premiums up to IRS limits. Here's where timing is crucial. If you've built up a substantial HSA balance before enrolling in Medicare, you can use those funds to cover your Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Tax-free for years. For example, Medicare. Part B premiums in 2025 are $174.70 per month, or about $2,096 per year per person. Over a 10-year retirement, that's $41,920 for a couple. Money you can withdraw tax-free from your HSA instead of pulling from your IRA or 401k and triggering income taxes. This can also help you manage your taxable income in retirement, potentially keeping you below key thresholds that trigger higher Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025, known as IRMA surcharges, or push you into a higher tax bracket. Coordinating your HSA withdrawals with your overall tax strategy can save you thousands in both taxes and Medicare costs over time. Let's pause and highlight the tax implications, because this is where the real optimization happens. Unlike withdrawals from your IRA or 401k, which are taxed as ordinary income, every dollar you withdraw from your HSA for qualified medical expenses is completely tax-free. This means you can use your HSA to cover healthcare costs without increasing your taxable income or risking higher Medicare surcharges. For many affluent retirees, this is the difference between paying 22% or more in taxes on healthcare withdrawals and paying zero. Over a 20-year retirement, that could easily add up to $50,000 or more in tax savings, depending on your income and healthcare needs. Another advanced tactic is to use your HSA as a buffer during market downturns. If the stock market takes a dip and you want to avoid selling investments in your taxable or retirement accounts at a loss, you can tap your HSA for medical expenses instead. This allows your other investments time to recover while still meeting your healthcare needs tax-free. I've seen retirees use this approach to avoid locking in losses during volatile markets, preserving their overall portfolio and maintaining financial flexibility. Industry insiders know that these advanced strategies are what separate the truly secure retirees from those who simply get by. The most successful retirees I work with always coordinate their HSA withdrawals with their overall income and tax planning, ensuring they maximize every available tax break and keep their healthcare costs as low as possible. They also make sure their HSA is invested appropriately for their time horizon and risk tolerance, shifting to more conservative investments as they approach the point where they'll need to tap the funds. Let me repeat this important point. The key to success is getting your timing exactly right. The sooner you start superfunding your HSA, the more time your money has to grow tax-free. The longer you can delay withdrawals and reimbursements, the greater your potential tax savings. And the more carefully you coordinate your HSA strategy with your Medicare enrollment and overall tax plan, the more you can keep in your pocket and out of the IRS's hands. So far, we've covered 3 sophisticated techniques for maximizing your HSA: the Superfund investment approach, the delayed reimbursement strategy, and optimizing your HSA for Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025, and tax planning. Each of these can add tens of thousands of dollars to your retirement health care fund if you implement them correctly and avoid the common pitfalls we discussed earlier. The window for these strategies is limited, especially as you approach age 65 and Medicare enrollment. Every month you delay could mean lost tax-free growth or missed reimbursement opportunities. The most successful retirees I've worked with act early, plan carefully, and revisit their strategy every year to stay on track. But advanced strategies are only as good as your implementation plan. The timing, the sequence, and the deadlines all matter, especially when you're coordinating HSA contributions, Medicare enrollment, and your broader retirement withdrawals. The key to success is getting your timing exactly right. Coming up, I'll walk you through a step-by-step timeline for implementing these strategies, so you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to avoid costly missteps. But timing is crucial. Here's exactly when to take each step for maximum benefit. Part 6, your HSA Action Timeline, step-by-step for maximum retirement savings. Now that you've learned the advanced strategies for turning your HSA into a retirement healthcare powerhouse, it's time to get specific about the when and how. If there's one thing I've seen in my 30-plus years of guiding retirees, it's that the most successful outcomes come from a clear step-by-step plan, one with timelines, deadlines, and a logical sequence. The window for maximizing your HSA is limited, especially as you approach age 65 and Medicare enrollment. Every month you delay could mean thousands of dollars in lost tax-free growth, missed contribution opportunities, or even IRS penalties. So, let's break down exactly what to do over the next 30, 60, and 90 days to set yourself up for long-term healthcare security. And remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Please consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation before making any decisions. Let's start with your first 30 days. This initial phase is all about assessment and preparation. Begin by confirming your current HSA eligibility. Are you still covered by a high-deductible health plan, HDHP? If you're under age 65 and not yet enrolled in any part of Medicare, you can still contribute. Verify your plan's deductible amount. Remember, for 2025, it must be at least $1,650 for individuals or $3,300 for families. If you're not sure, contact your benefits administrator or health insurance provider. Next, review your current HSA balance, contribution history, and investment options. Many people are surprised to find their HSA is sitting in a low-interest cash account, missing out on years of tax-free growth. Take this time to log in to your HSA portal, review available investment choices, and set a goal for how much you want to contribute this year. If you're age 55 or older, make sure to factor in your $1,000 catch-up contribution. Finally, gather all your medical receipts from the past year and set up a digital or physical filing system to keep them organized. This will be crucial for the delayed reimbursement strategy. By the end of these 30 days, you should have a clear understanding of your HSA status, your eligibility to contribute, and your investment options. If you discover you're ineligible to contribute, don't panic. You can still use your existing balance for qualified expenses, and the advanced strategies we discussed still apply. The warning sign here is uncertainty about your insurance status or missing paperwork. If you're unsure, reach out to your HR department or financial advisor immediately. Now, let's move into the 30 to 60-day window. This is where you take action. If you're eligible, make your maximum annual HSA contribution as early in the year as possible. For 2025, that's $4,300 for individuals, $8,550 for families, plus the $1,000 catch-up for each spouse age 55 or older. If you're married, coordinate with your spouse to ensure you're both maximizing contributions. Set up automatic monthly transfers if you prefer to spread contributions throughout the year. But remember, the earlier your money is in the account, the more time it has to grow. Next, allocate your HSA balance for investment. Most HSA providers allow you to choose mutual funds or index funds once your balance exceeds a certain threshold, often $1,000 or $2,000. Decide how much to keep in cash for immediate needs. Typically $1,000 to $2,000 is a conservative buffer, and invest the rest according to your risk tolerance and time horizon. If you're unsure about your investment choices, consult with your advisor or use your provider's risk assessment tools. During this period, start paying current qualified medical expenses out of pocket when possible. Every dollar you leave in your HSA is a dollar that can continue to grow tax-free. Scan and save every receipt and update your log with dates, amounts, and descriptions. This habit will pay dividends in the years to come, especially if you use the delayed reimbursement strategy. If you have older receipts from previous years, review them for eligibility and ensure they're organized and accessible. As you approach the 60 to 90-day mark, it's time to look ahead, especially if you're within 2 years of turning 65 or planning to retire soon. Begin by mapping out your Medicare timeline. Most people become eligible for Medicare at age 65. If you're planning to enroll, remember that you can't make HSA contributions for any months you're covered by Medicare, including retroactive coverage. This often surprises retirees. If you apply for Medicare Part A after your 65th birthday, coverage can be retroactive for up to 6 months, making you ineligible to contribute during that retroactive period. To avoid penalties, stop HSA contributions at least 6 months before you plan to enroll in Medicare. Mark these dates on your calendar and coordinate with your benefits administrator or advisor to ensure you don't overcontribute. At this stage, review your beneficiary designations on your HSA. Make sure your spouse is listed if you're married, as only a spouse can inherit the HSA and maintain its tax-free status. If your children or other heirs are listed, understand that the account will become taxable to them upon inheritance. This is a good time to schedule a meeting with your estate planner or attorney to ensure your HSA fits seamlessly into your broader estate strategy. Finally, set a recurring annual review date, ideally every January or at tax time, to revisit your HSA contributions, investment allocations, receipt log, and Medicare timeline. The retirees I've worked with who build this habit rarely miss an opportunity or fall into a costly trap. If you're already on Medicare, use your annual review to plan tax-free HSA withdrawals for Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Dental, vision, hearing, and other qualified expenses. This is also the time to coordinate with your tax advisor to ensure your withdrawals align with your broader income and tax strategies, potentially helping you avoid higher Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. IRMA surcharges and unnecessary taxes. Let's recap what we've covered in your step-by-step HSA timeline. In your first 30 days, assess your eligibility, review your HSA balance and investments, and organize your receipts. In the next 30 days, maximize contributions, invest your balance, and start paying expenses out of pocket while logging receipts. By 90 days, map out your Medicare and retirement timeline, update beneficiaries, and schedule annual reviews. Throughout this process, watch for key deadlines. April 15th is the last day to make prior year HSA contributions. Age 65 is the Medicare enrollment threshold, and the 6-month retroactive Medicare coverage window can impact your eligibility to contribute. Missing these dates can mean IRS penalties, lost growth, or missed contribution opportunities. Let me repeat that important point. The sooner you implement this timeline, the more you stand to gain. Every month you delay could cost you hundreds or even thousands of dollars in lost tax-free growth or missed tax savings. The most successful retirees I work with act early, stay organized, and revisit their plan every year to adjust for changes in health, income, or family situation. So far, we've built a clear, actionable timeline for maximizing your HSA benefits before and after Medicare. But even with the best plan, you might encounter challenges along the way. Unexpected medical bills, paperwork headaches, or changing rules can throw even the most diligent retiree off track. Even if you follow this perfectly, you might encounter these common roadblocks. Here's how to troubleshoot and stay on course. Part 7. Troubleshooting your HSA plan. Solutions to the most common roadblocks. Even with a well-crafted plan and the best intentions, you may encounter obstacles as you work to maximize your HSA for retirement health care. In my 30-plus years of working with retirees, I've seen nearly every challenge imaginable, from unexpected medical events and record-keeping headaches to confusing insurance changes and shifting IRS rules. The good news is, with the right knowledge and a few practical solutions, you can overcome these roadblocks and keep your strategy on course. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation. Let's start with one of the most common issues: dealing with unexpected large medical bills before your HSA has had a chance to grow. Maybe you're just starting your HSA journey in your early 60s, and suddenly you face a $7,500 dental procedure or a hospitalization. It's natural to want to use your HSA funds immediately, but the real power comes from letting those dollars grow tax-free for as long as possible. Here's my advice, based on decades of experience. If you have enough cash in your regular savings or checking account, pay the bill out of pocket and save the receipt. You can reimburse yourself tax-free from your HSA years down the road after your account has had time to grow. But if paying out of pocket would create financial strain or force you to sell investments at a loss, it's perfectly reasonable to use your HSA funds now. The key is balance. Protect your long-term growth, but don't jeopardize your financial stability today. Many retirees find it helpful to keep a decision threshold. For example, paying out of pocket for expenses under $2,000, but using HSA funds for anything larger. This gives you a framework for making quick, confident choices when medical surprises arise. The second roadblock I see is confusion around Medicare enrollment and HSA contribution rules. The IRS rules here can be tricky, and even a small mistake can lead to penalties. For instance, if you enroll in Medicare Part A at age 65 but forget to stop HSA contributions, you could face a 6% excise tax on excess contributions. I've seen retirees accidentally contribute $3,000 after Medicare enrollment and wind up owing hundreds in penalties and taxes. The solution is proactive planning. As you approach age 65, set a calendar reminder 6 months before your expected Medicare enrollment date. Review your health insurance status with your HR department or benefits administrator and confirm the exact date your Medicare coverage will begin, including any retroactive coverage. If you discover you've made an excess contribution, act quickly. Withdraw the excess amount and any earnings before your tax filing deadline to minimize penalties. And if you're delaying Medicare because you're still working and covered by an employer plan, double-check the rules each year. Employer coverage can change, and so can your eligibility. A third common challenge is keeping track of medical receipts and documentation for delayed reimbursements. Over the years, I've seen retirees lose out on thousands of dollars simply because they couldn't locate receipts or prove their expenses to the IRS. The solution is to create a simple, repeatable system. Start by scanning every medical receipt as soon as you receive it. Use your smartphone or a home scanner. Store digital copies in a dedicated folder on your computer or a secure cloud service. For extra protection, back up your files regularly. Keep a running spreadsheet or log with the date, provider, amount, and description of each expense. Many HSA providers now offer expense tracking tools within their online portals. Take advantage of these features if available. If you ever need to reimburse yourself from your HSA, you'll have a clear, organized record ready to go. And if you're audited, you'll be able to provide documentation quickly and confidently. Remember, the IRS can disallow tax-free withdrawals if you can't prove they were for qualified medical expenses, so this step is absolutely essential. Let's talk about another what-if scenario that causes anxiety for many retirees. What if you accidentally use HSA funds for a non-qualified expense? Maybe you pay for a gym membership, cosmetic procedure, or other cost that doesn't meet IRS guidelines. If you're under age 65, you'll owe income tax plus a 20% penalty on the withdrawal. After age 65, the penalty disappears, but you'll still owe income tax. If you catch the mistake before filing your tax return, you can usually correct it by returning the funds to your HSA and documenting the correction with your provider. If you realize the error later, report it on your tax return and pay any taxes and penalties owed. The best way to avoid this scenario is to consult the IRS's list of qualified medical expenses each year. Your HSA provider should also have resources to help you stay compliant. And when in doubt, ask your advisor or tax professional before making a withdrawal. Here's another curveball. What if your HSA provider charges high fees or offers limited investment options? Over the years, I've seen retirees lose thousands to unnecessary account fees or miss out on growth because their HSA only offers a basic savings account. The solution is to shop around. HSAs are portable, and you can transfer your balance to a provider that better fits your needs. Look for an HSA with low or no monthly fees, a robust selection of mutual funds or index funds, and user-friendly online tools. The transfer process is usually straightforward, but be sure to follow IRS guidelines for trustee-to-trustee transfers to avoid accidental withdrawals or tax consequences. Now let's address a challenge that's become more common in recent years: changing IRS rules and healthcare regulations. Every year, the IRS updates HSA contribution limits, qualified expense lists, and other guidelines. Medicare rules and tax brackets can also shift. The best defense here is to schedule an annual review with your financial advisor and tax professional. Each January, check the new HSA contribution limits, confirm your eligibility, and update your plan as needed. If you're already on Medicare, review your expected healthcare expenses for the year and plan your HSA withdrawals accordingly. Staying proactive keeps you ahead of regulatory changes and ensures you don't miss new opportunities or fall into new traps. Let's recap the most common HSA troubleshooting scenarios and solutions. If you face a large, unexpected medical bill, weigh the benefits of paying out of pocket versus using HSA funds now, and keep receipts for possible future reimbursement. To avoid Medicare-related penalties, set reminders and coordinate with your benefits administrator well before age 65 and correct any excess contributions promptly. For record-keeping headaches, create a simple digital filing system and update it regularly. If you make a non-qualified withdrawal by mistake, correct it quickly or report it properly on your tax return. If your HSA provider isn't meeting your needs, transfer your account to a better provider. And to stay current on changing rules, schedule an annual review with your advisor and tax professional. Let me repeat that important point. Even the most carefully crafted plan can hit a bump in the road, but with preparation and quick action, you can keep your HSA strategy on track and protect your retirement healthcare savings. The most successful retirees I work with are not those who never make mistakes, but those who know how to respond and adapt when challenges arise. So far, we've covered how to troubleshoot the most common HSA challenges with practical solutions and what-if scenarios to keep you moving forward. Once you master this foundation, you're ready for the next level, unlocking even more ways to optimize your healthcare savings and secure your financial future. Once you master this foundation, you're ready for the next level, advanced actions that can truly maximize your results and protect your legacy. Part 8. Next Level HSA Actions, Maximizing Results, Scaling Your Strategy, and Securing Your Legacy. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of the curve. You've learned how to avoid costly mistakes, you know how to troubleshoot common challenges, and you're well-versed in the step-by-step process for building and protecting your HSA healthcare savings. Now, let's take things to the next level. Over my 30-plus years of guiding retirees, I've seen that the most successful and secure seniors don't just stop at the basics. They look for advanced ways to scale their strategies, optimize for changing circumstances, and ensure their legacy is protected for years to come. Remember, this is educational content, not personalized financial advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor for your specific situation before acting on these advanced strategies. Let's start with scaling your HSA strategy. Many retirees think their HSA is a set-it-and-forget-it account, but the most successful seniors I work with revisit and adjust their approach every year. One powerful way to scale your results is to coordinate your HSA with all other tax-advantaged accounts in your portfolio. For example, if you have both a Roth IRA and an HSA, consider prioritizing HSA contributions during your final working years, especially if you're nearing age 65. Since HSA withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are always tax-free, and Roth IRA withdrawals can also be tax-free after age 59 and a half, using your HSA first for healthcare costs allows your Roth IRA to continue compounding for other needs or as a tax-free legacy for your heirs. This sequencing can add tens of thousands of dollars in additional growth over a 10 to 20-year retirement. Another advanced optimization is to maximize your HSA's investment potential even after you've stopped contributing. If you're already on Medicare and can't make new contributions, don't let your HSA sit idle in a low-interest account. Instead, review your investment allocations annually, just as you would with your IRA or 401k. As your time horizon shortens, gradually shift a portion of your HSA into more conservative investments, such as bond funds or money market options, to preserve your gains and ensure funds are available for near-term medical expenses. The wealthiest retirees I've worked with treat their HSA as a living, breathing part of their portfolio, adjusting risk, rebalancing periodically, and keeping an eye on fees and performance. Even a modest 1% increase in annual returns compounded over a decade can mean an extra $5,000 to $10,000 in tax-free healthcare dollars. Let's talk about leveraging your HSA for long-term care planning. Many seniors are surprised to learn that HSA funds can be used tax-free to pay for qualified long-term care insurance premiums, up to IRS limits. In 2025, for those aged 61 to 70, you can use up to $4,710 per year from your HSA to pay for these premiums. If you're over 70, the limit rises to $5,880. This is a significant benefit, especially since long-term care is one of the most unpredictable and expensive aspects of retirement. By earmarking part of your HSA for these costs, you can protect your other assets, maintain your independence, and reduce the risk of depleting your nest egg in the event of an extended care need. Another next-level action is to use your HSA as a strategic tool for managing your taxable income in retirement. Because HSA withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are not included in your adjusted gross income, they don't count toward thresholds that trigger higher Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. IRMA surcharges, or additional taxes on Social Security benefits. The most successful retirees I work with plan their withdrawals carefully, using HSA funds to pay for healthcare costs during years when other income is high, such as after a large Roth conversion or the sale of a property, to keep their taxable income as low as possible. This type of coordinated tax planning can save you thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement. Let's not overlook the importance of legacy planning. If you're fortunate enough to have a substantial HSA balance as you approach your later years, think carefully about how you want those funds to be used. As we discussed earlier, only your spouse can inherit your HSA and maintain its tax-free status. If you leave your HSA to children or other heirs, the account becomes taxable to them in the year they inherit it. For this reason, many retirees choose to spend down their HSA during their lifetime, using it for qualified medical expenses. Medicare premiums Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Dental and vision care, home modifications, or even in-home nursing care. Some retirees use their HSA to prepay for future medical needs or to help cover health care costs for a spouse. If your spouse is younger or has higher anticipated medical expenses, consider coordinating HSA withdrawals to maximize tax-free benefits for both of you. If you're charitably inclined, another advanced consideration is to use HSA funds for qualified medical expenses in a year when you make large charitable contributions. By reducing your taxable income through HSA withdrawals and charitable deductions simultaneously, you may be able to optimize your tax situation and increase the impact of your giving. Always coordinate these moves with your tax advisor to ensure you're following the latest IRS rules. Finally, don't underestimate the power of annual reviews and ongoing education. The rules around HSAs, Medicare, and retirement taxation are constantly evolving. The most successful retirees I work with schedule a dedicated review of their HSA and healthcare strategy every year, ideally at the start of the year or during tax season. This is the time to check for updated contribution limits, new qualified expenses, changes to Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025, and any adjustments needed in your investment mix. Staying proactive keeps you ahead of regulatory changes and allows you to take advantage of new opportunities as they arise. Let me repeat that important point. The road to maximizing your HSA is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of review, adjustment, and optimization. The wealthiest and most secure retirees are those who revisit their strategy regularly, make informed adjustments, and coordinate their HSA with their broader retirement and legacy planning. So far, we've explored how to scale your HSA strategy, optimize investments and withdrawals, coordinate with other accounts, use your HSA for long-term care and tax planning, and ensure your legacy is protected. Each of these next-level actions can add thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of dollars to your retirement healthcare fund and provide true peace of mind for you and your loved ones. But the world of retirement finance is always evolving. New strategies, updated tax rules, and emerging healthcare options mean there's always more to learn and more ways to protect your financial future. In our next session, I'll show you how to integrate your HSA strategy with a comprehensive retirement income plan so you can enjoy your golden years with confidence, security, and complete peace of mind. That's just the beginning. What I'm about to share next will surprise even experienced investors. Over the past hour, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground on the secret HSA strategies that can truly transform your retirement healthcare savings. Let's take a moment to appreciate what you've accomplished. This was not just another financial video, but a deep dive into valuable financial education that could save you thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement. The knowledge you've gained today represents decades of experience distilled into practical, actionable guidance. I want to validate your time investment. You've taken a major step toward securing your financial future and protecting your legacy. Let's briefly recap the 8 key insights you've learned on this journey. First, we identified the hidden crisis of soaring healthcare costs in retirement and why Medicare alone isn't enough. Second, we introduced the HSA's triple tax advantage. Contributions are tax-deductible, growth is tax-free, and qualified withdrawals are tax-free. Third, you saw real-life success stories of retirees who used this strategy to build substantial tax-free healthcare funds. Fourth, we broke down the step-by-step process for maximizing your HSA, eligibility, contributions, investing, and record-keeping. Fifth, we revealed the most common and expensive mistakes, like contributing after enrolling in Medicare or failing to keep receipts, and how to avoid them. Sixth, you learned advanced techniques like the HSA Superfund, delayed reimbursements, and optimizing for Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Seventh, we mapped out a clear 30, 60, 90-day implementation timeline, including key deadlines and planning sequences. And eighth, we addressed troubleshooting and next-level actions, showing you how to adapt, scale, and integrate your HSA strategy with your broader retirement plan. Let me emphasize this important point. What separates financially secure retirees from those who struggle isn't just the size of their portfolio. It's the knowledge and implementation of proven strategies like these. The most successful clients I've worked with consistently apply these principles, revisiting and optimizing their plan year after year. I've seen these strategies work for thousands of retirees across different market conditions, and I can tell you, the peace of mind that comes from knowing you've optimized every aspect of your retirement finances is truly priceless. Now that you understand each piece, here's how they work together. When you combine early and maximum HSA contributions with smart investment choices, meticulous record-keeping, and strategic timing around Medicare, you create a comprehensive, tax-optimized healthcare funding plan. The compound effect is powerful. A retiree who superfunds their HSA, invests for long-term growth, and uses delayed reimbursements can easily triple their tax-free healthcare savings compared to someone who spends their HSA as they go or leaves it in cash. For example, a couple who contributes $10,300 per year for 5 years lets the balance grow at a conservative 5% and then draws tax-free for Medicare premiums. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. Part B standard premium is $185 per month in 2025. 2025 and out-of-pocket costs could build a $60,000 to $100,000 healthcare fund entirely shielded from taxes. This is why wealthy retirees often outperform those with higher starting balances. They leverage every available advantage, coordinate across accounts, and avoid costly mistakes. This is your aha moment. When all the strategies are implemented together, your HSA becomes more than just an account. It's a cornerstone of your financial independence, a buffer against rising medical costs, and a tool for preserving your legacy. After helping retirees navigate multiple market cycles, I can tell you, those who integrate their HSA into their broader retirement plan enjoy greater confidence, flexibility, and security, regardless of what the markets or healthcare system may bring. So, what are your next steps? Here's a clear, actionable plan you can follow over the next 30 days to put these strategies to work. Step 1. Assessment phase, first week. Start by gathering these 3 essential documents: your most recent HSA statement, your current health insurance policy summary, and a list of all medical receipts from the past year. Calculate your current HSA balance and contribution status using a simple spreadsheet or online tool. Identify your biggest opportunity area, whether it's maximizing contributions, improving investment choices, or organizing your receipts for delayed reimbursement. Step 2. Planning phase, second week. Create your personalized HSA timeline based on your age, Medicare eligibility, and retirement goals. Research the specific investment options available within your HSA provider. Look for low-cost index funds or conservative mutual funds that match your risk tolerance. Document your current HSA strategy and compare it to what you've learned today. Note any gaps or areas for improvement. Step 3. Professional consultation, third week. Schedule a meeting with a qualified financial advisor or retirement planner. Bring these specific questions. Am I maximizing my HSA contributions? Is my investment allocation appropriate for my time horizon? How should I coordinate my HSA with my Medicare enrollment and other retirement accounts? Verify that your advisor understands these advanced HSA strategies and can help you integrate them into your broader plan. If you have a tax professional or estate attorney, ask how your HSA fits into your overall tax and legacy planning. Step 4. Implementation begins, fourth week. Start with the lowest risk, highest impact change first, such as setting up automatic HSA contributions or reallocating your HSA balance to better investments. Set up digital systems and accounts for tracking receipts, contributions, and withdrawals. Begin tracking your progress with simple metrics: annual contribution rate, investment growth, and organized medical receipts. Celebrate each milestone. Every step forward compounds your long-term results. Remember, this has been educational content designed to inform your decision-making. Every individual's financial situation is unique. What works for one person may not be optimal for another. Always consult with qualified financial and tax professionals before making significant changes. Past performance of any strategy doesn't guarantee future results, and the tax implications we discussed may change based on future legislation. Let's address risk and set realistic expectations. Every financial strategy carries some level of risk. Investment returns can fluctuate, healthcare needs can change, and laws may evolve. The goal isn't perfection, it's optimization based on your unique situation. Most successful retirees implement these changes gradually over 6 to 12 months, reviewing their plan annually and making small improvements as needed. Don't let perfectionism prevent you from starting with small, manageable steps. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes. They're proven, long-term strategies that have stood the test of time and market cycles. You're now part of a community of informed retirees who refuse to settle for average outcomes. The journey to financial optimization is ongoing. Markets change, laws evolve, and your needs will shift as you age. Continue your education by staying informed about retirement planning developments, new HSA rules, and emerging healthcare options. Share your success stories and lessons learned with others. Your experience could help a fellow retiree avoid costly mistakes and achieve greater security. If you're part of a local senior group or online forum, consider sharing what you've learned and encouraging others to join the conversation. If this video helped clarify your retirement planning strategy, please give it a thumbs up. Share your biggest takeaway in the comments. Which HSA strategy will you implement first? Subscribe for more in-depth retirement guidance that could save you thousands, and let us know which topics you want covered next. Most importantly, take action on what you've learned. Your future self, your family, and your legacy will thank you. You'll know you're on the right track when your financial stress decreases, your confidence grows, and you have clear answers to the questions that used to keep you awake at night. Remember, the cost of inaction often exceeds the cost of making imperfect but informed decisions. The goal is progress, not perfection. Small improvements compound over time. Measure your success by your increased confidence, your growing healthcare fund, and your ability to make choices that align with your values and goals. In my decades of helping retirees optimize their finances, I've seen that the greatest gift you can give yourself and your loved ones is the security that comes from a well-crafted, tax-smart healthcare plan. Imagine sleeping better at night, knowing you've prepared for the unexpected and protected your independence. Picture your children and grandchildren benefiting from your wisdom and foresight, and your family's financial future strengthened by the decisions you make today. Thank you for investing your time, your attention, and your trust. You now possess actionable knowledge that most retirees never acquire. The next step is yours. Take it with confidence and let your HSA become a cornerstone of your lasting legacy. Tax laws and HSA contribution limits are subject to change by Congress and the IRS. This content reflects 2025 limits and may not reflect future changes.